And we are back, Mr. Poo 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 Poo.
In Moscow is trying to get Russia to agree to a 30-day ceasefire with Ukraine. Meanwhile, at the White House, the NATO Secretary General will sit down with President Trump. Also on the agenda at the White House, funding. President Trump has demanded other NATO allies to contribute more. CBS News White House reporter Olivia Rinaldi is joining me now to go over all of the breaking details as we come to air. Olivia, as these two...
You know what I think, man, and it's just my opinion. You got NATO countries, right? And then you got Russia, right? And I don't know who Russia allies are or whatever the case may be. And they are trying to get funding for whatever or this or that. And it's like, if it's not a one world order, very close to a one world order, in these big, people in these countries and nations or whatever, you can't tell me they're not talking. You can't tell me. I don't believe it. I just don't believe it. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Ukraine trying to get a 30-day ceasefire against Russia, and you telling me you got most of the world behind Ukraine, and it's just Russia, and it's like, is Russia that goddamn big? And who's Russia allies? And like, what do you mean trying to get them to do a ceasefire? It's like, that's their problem. That's their issue all the way across the world. It's their neighbor. It's like, can we help ourselves in this country? What about, the American people here? What about the youth here? What about the elderly here? What about us here? Are you trying to raise money for Ukraine or raise money for this and do that? And, to me, it's just like,
meet the special envoy. His name is Steve Witkoff. He's in Moscow trying to get Russia to sign off on that ceasefire. What are you hearing about the possibility of that?
Yeah, he just landed a short while ago in Moscow to have these meetings with the Russians about this very delicate ceasefire that could happen potentially. That came out of a meeting earlier in the week between the Ukrainians and the U.S. delegation in Saudi Arabia. Kyiv agreed to a potential 30-day ceasefire if the Russians would agree. Now we're hearing from the Russians, and they sound quite wary of this deal. A Kremlin aide this morning already said there's really no reason for Russia to sign it. It would just give the Ukrainians time to regroup and get back on the battlefield. We also saw Putin earlier today in a video that was released, notably wearing military fatigues. He was also in an area of Russia that was recently taken over by Ukrainians, and there's been a bloody battle playing out there. It's an area called Kursk. While in that area, he delivered a message to the forces there, telling them to fight on, to get the Ukrainian forces out of Russian territory and to really drive forward in that area. That doesn't sound like a man who's exactly open to peace or ceasefire at this moment. So we're hearing from the Russians. Steve Witkoff is there to have that meeting. We'll be watching very closely. We were told from the Kremlin that we should expect to hear more from Putin today, specifically about that deal. We already heard from that Kremlin aide who sounded like it might not be in their best interest to sign it, but very, very delicate situation.
It's just like, you should have never tried to get Ukraine to go into NATO. Like, it should have never happened. And, I don't care how much money or minerals you can get out of Ukraine. It's like, the principle, Russia said, do not try to get Ukraine a part of NATO, and that's what you're doing, and that's what you've done, or almost attempt to do. It's just like this war and all this stuff going on for no reason, like none at all, like no reason at all. If somebody said, hey, you cross that line, it's going to be problems. And you slowly, every year, get closer to the line, then you own the line, and you say, I ain't going to do nothing. And you go across the line, and it's been years you've been across that line, and they just been looking at you. They just looking at you, and you're like, ha, you can't see me, ha, you can't see me, ha, you don't see me. And then they say, all right, we're destroying everything right here. And you're like, no, why would you do that? That's crazy. And it's like, I just actually just don't play with me. Like, that's the simple thing. I said, please just don't play with me. I'm a cool, relaxed, chill guy, and you guys want to play with me. That's how I feel like Putin was like, I'm a chill, relaxed guy. And I said, don't play with me. And boop, you played with me. And I don't want to hear you talk. Get on my face. I'll talk to you when I feel like talking to you. And it's just like, it goes back and forth. Boop, 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 boop. And And it's like the little thing that go. Like the real one, I think goes for a while, and it's like the United States said, and it's slowly, and Russia said, "Oh no, fuck this," but it don't go back over here. Russia just beating this ball right here, but it never, the energy never goes through to come over. It just goes just beating the hell out of the goddamn ball. If that makes sense, it's just something that I feel like just shouldn't be going on, man. But who am I? Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Smile. Make someone day, man, and just be yourself, man. And yeah, until next time, peace and love and peace. And don't forget you're beautiful. You know, whoever you are, man. Whoever you are.